Good morning. Welcome, everybody. I'm so happy to see all of you with this weather. I am so grateful that you were able to drive safely. My name is Maria Juarez. I'm the president of SHAC, for those that you don't know me, and I'm hoping that you can continue supporting us. It's February. We celebrate love and friendship. So we're very happy to have you here, and we have some great information for you. For now, we usually pray before we start our meeting, and then we serve ourselves some delicious food. For those that don't know the process. So for now, I would like to ask Sarita Augustine to say our prayer.
Good morning. Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we come before you today in humility and faith. We thank you for all you have given us and the many blessings in our lives. We ask for your guidance and strength as we prepare this meeting. Show us the way and fill us with courage and wisdom. Help us to remember your love and grace and to be faithful in our service to you. Jesus, as we prepare for our meal, we want to bless the hands that prepare it, Lord. Let it be a blessing to our body as your word is to our soul. Give us the patience and understanding to face life's challenges and grace. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Ms. Augustine. Can go ahead and get in line and serve some food and enjoy it. After you come and sit, then we will continue our meeting. Thank you.
Yeah, we're good to go.
I hope you're enjoying your food, guys. In the meantime, I'm going to call Teresa Reiner to introduce our speaker.
Good morning. I just wanted to thank y'all all for coming on this cold and wet and rainy day. So I did want to remind you that we are being taped. So if you get up, you'll be in the video. So just wanted to remind you. So it was turned off while we were getting our meal, but it will be turned on now. We do have a guest speaker today from Life Gift. This is organ donation. Not everyone knows anything about it, and some know some. So we're going to try to clear that up for everyone. So today we have Leslie Meggs with us, and she is the Community Engagement Specialist with Life Gift. And if you want to go ahead and come up, Leslie. There you go. Thank you. And here's the
Oh, perfect. Awesome. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Oop, I like y'all are awake and ready to go. Like she said, my name's Leslie Meggs, and I am the Community Engagement Specialist for Life Gift. And although I have only been in this position for 6 months, as of right now, I have been a part of Life Gift for 10 years because I'm an organ recipient myself. So everything that I'm about to go through is very close to home for me, and I'm very passionate about it, and I'm so grateful for you guys inviting us here today to present. So let's look at some statistics, our need for donors. Oops, excuse me. The largest football stadium in the United States could not fit the number of patients that are on our transplant waiting lists right now. That's how many people are waiting for life-saving organs. Every 9 minutes, someone new is added to the transplant waiting list. 17 people die each day waiting for their life-saving organs. And of the people on the waiting list, 85% are waiting for a kidney, which is especially important to point out because the kidney, just like the lobe of a liver, is something you can be a living donor for, which I hear you guys will hear more about later on. So this is kind of a spread of the different types of organs people are waiting on, the number of people based on their ethnic background. And it's from 2019. These numbers have only increased from there. It's important to point out, too, because there is a huge discrepancy in the number of people waiting for these organs and the number of people who are actually registered donors. So the good news is the majority of Texans have registered to become organ donors. But the bad news is 44% is still a lot of people. And that's a lot of life-saving organs that can help all of those waiting on the list. So the impact of organ donation. I was just going to go through these really quick. These are 3 people whose stories are very close to my heart. Melvin Morrison was a double lung and kidney recipient. He's been very active in Life Gift since he received his organs. He unfortunately passed away this past year due to complications with his transplant, but he was just a beacon of hope and light and just so involved in the community. Juan Contreras from Lubbock, he received a liver, but prior to him needing a liver transplant, his daughter passed away at 16 and became an organ donor, which is how he got involved in Life Gift. And then Rylan Cohen, his mother started a foundation called Smilin' Rylan in his honor. He passed away when he was 2 years old and became an organ donor. So tissue transplantation. This is something that not a lot of people know about or talk about, but it's just as important as organ donation and transplantation. You can donate your corneas to offer sight for those who are visually impaired, your skin to heal severe burns or any sort of skin infections, your tendons to restore mobility, heal injured military or athletes, your bone for reconstruction. It can even help prevent amputation, your veins to help restore circulation, and your valves to help repair various cardiac defects. So all in all, if you become an organ and tissue donor, one single person can impact more than 70 individual lives. This is Tracy Hester. Her father, Richard Rogers, is one of our volunteers. He's very, very involved and just an amazing man. She passed away and unfortunately was not able to become an organ donor due to the nature of her passing, but she was a tissue donor. And this is a letter from a tissue recipient that I'll read through really quickly that talks about the impact of this tissue donation. Sharon says, "Dear donor family, when your life changes due to someone else's precious gift, there are no words to express your gratitude. Please know I will always cherish the gift and remember your loved one. My quality of life will be drastically improved. I retired 3 years ago due to the excruciating pain in my neck, and everything I did was dependent on how I felt that day. Now, I will be able to enjoy my precious granddaughter and my family." So now that we understand the community of it, let's talk a little bit more about Life Gift, what we do, and where we are. So as you can see on this map, there are 3 OPOs, organ procurement organizations, in Texas. Life Gift is where the purple is. So we take care of here in the Houston area, the Lubbock Amarillo area, and the Fort Worth area. STA and TOSA are the other 2. We work very closely with them. And Donate Life Texas, as I'm sure you guys see everywhere, that's the registry for Texas. So all 3 of us work very closely with them, and they keep track of the registry and work with the DPS. So OPOs are federally designated nonprofit organizations. Life Gift is one of the 56 OPOs in the United States, not in Texas, and we are the largest in Texas. We serve more than 200 hospitals in 109 Texas counties. And as a company, we're rooted in knowledge, community, and innovation. Our CEO is on the front line of everything, and we just did a news release on using drones in Lubbock to transport organs to help improve the transplant, the time to move the transplant from the donor to the recipient. So he's on the forward end of everything if you guys are interested in looking into some of that. As a recipient, I'm just very excited to be a part of this organization. So at Life Gift, we do a lot more than just facilitating the donation process. We support grieving families during and after that donation process. We advocate for those who are waiting for their life-saving transplant. We offer hope to families through the opportunity of organ and tissue donation. We coordinate the organ and tissue recovery process with the donor hospitals and the transplant programs at those hospitals. We partner with the hospitals to continually develop an optimal donation environment. We educate the public about the need for organ and tissue donation. And we do all of that every day, in and out, for every single individual who's involved in the organ and tissue donation and transplantation community. I can say as a recipient, our donor families are the backbone of everything that we do. They are the ones who keep everything going, and I mean, they are so important to us. And so we do have a lot of resources to support them throughout that process as well. So now that we know a little bit more about Life Gift, let's talk about organ referral to recovery, a little bit of a clinical approach to what exactly happens when someone is a donor. So the very first thing they do is the hospital, the physicians, will exhaust all efforts in order to keep that person alive. There is no cross-communication between them and the registry and Life Gift. So those physicians that are taking care of that patient have no idea if they're a donor or not until they have been declared passed. At that point, they reach out to us, and we work with Donate Life Texas to check the registry to see if they're registered as a donor. At that point, we go in and we assess if they're able to actually become a donor, their health, the reason for their passing, all of those things. And once we get to that point, then we talk to the families. We're not going to bring the families into this if it's not going to be, if nothing's going to come out of it, because that's just mean at that point. So then we talk to the families. We offer family support. we come up with a collaborative plan with those families and with the physicians. Then we do what's called donor management. So in the process of allocating those organs out to the different recipients, we take care of the donor and run tests to make sure that those organs will work in the recipients' bodies before we even recover them. And then we allocate. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not really sure how the waiting list works. No one really is, but it's based solely on how people, what the need is, the age, the type of organ, what their medical history is. It has nothing to do, I've heard people say it has to do with the money you have or the position you have. Absolutely not. It's an entire intricate process and system that they use. So then at that point, we recover the organs, and if we can preserve them, like the kidney, we can put it on a pump. We do that until we get them to the recipients. So just breaking down a couple of steps of this, not all of it. The authorization process. This is a legal registration form that Donate Life Texas keeps track of. The only way that you can become an organ donor is if you sign this form, provide your information. If you don't, and we don't have anything in the registry for you, the next of kin has to be the one to authorize that. And one of the reasons we encourage you to look into this and register is because once you register, you want to have that conversation with your family, because that's a very difficult position for them to be in at that point. So you want to, if you want to become a donor, register, have that conversation, and talk to them about it. But those are the only ways that you can become a donor. There has to be that legal, this is a legal form, legal authorization, and you can also choose on here whether or not you want to donate certain organs or certain tissues too, because some people, for example, are a little weird about corneas, so they'll donate everything but that. I see a lot, but you can go in and specify those things here. So the evaluation, this is what I chatted about a little bit just a second ago. We run tests and diagnostics to evaluate the organ's suitability for transplants. We implement clinical interventions to optimize that organ function for the recipient. And we clinically maintain the patient's functionality so that we can really optimize that organ function. And this is something, before I started this position, I actually did an internship in Tennessee for organ recovery. So I was able to go into one of these surgeries where they were recovering the organs from the donors. And as a recipient, first off, it's just the most incredible experience. But I can say the first thing they did before every one of these procedures is they stopped, offered a moment of silence for that donor, said a prayer in their honor, and some of these surgeons even played their favorite song over the OR speakers while they were doing the process. And I mean, I had chills the entire time, because you can really see the beauty of humanity through that process and how interconnected we all are. So in that OR room, we have the Life Gift staff, recovery surgeons, transplant surgeons, nurses, techs, and anesthesiologists. There is a whole entire team taking care of this with reverence and honor. And then finally, the organ allocation. I'm not going to read through all of this because I know I don't have a whole lot of time. But if you guys have any specific questions about this, I have business cards, and y'all are more than welcome to reach out. So this is the distribution process. Safety and timing are top priority. We utilize planes, helicopters, ambulance, life gift vehicles. You can see the hour spans next to those organs. That's about how long we have to get the organ from the donor to the transplant recipient before the organ starts dying and becomes unsuitable for transplantation. So time is of the essence. And you can see for the kidneys, it is a bit longer because of that perfusion machine that I mentioned earlier that we can hook it up to keep it going for a bit longer. So this is some of those resources that I mentioned before for our donor families. We have a massive family aftercare program, and we offer grief services from the moment that the donation happens to as long as they need those grief services. We have a Pathlight newsletter that reaches out to them. We do a donor remembrance ceremony that we just did this past Saturday. It's virtual. I think we'll have that video out if you guys want to watch it, to honor our donors and our donor families. And the cool thing, because the people who work in our aftercare are on our team, and it's really neat to listen to their stories because they're the ones who end up connecting the donor family to the recipient. And my favorite story that I've heard is there was I think she was 8-year-old girl who received a heart, and they were allowing the donor mom to meet the recipients for the first time, and the mom showed up with a stethoscope and was able to listen to her son's heartbeat for the first time since he passed. Sorry. That's the beauty of transplantation. That's the beauty of that selfless act. And I'll tell you, you become family with those recipients. They become their own grandparents, their aunts and uncles. They celebrate holidays together. I mean, they are blood family at that point, and it is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen in my life. We have a volunteer organization called Ambassadors of Hope. We have their recipients, donors, donor families, people in the community who are passionate about it, caretakers. My husband will tell you that he needs support too, as someone who deals with me as a recipient. So it's just all sorts of people, and we go out to hospitals, health organizations, multicultural, health-based organizations, academics, Vic community-based. We do policy work, and we work with the news media. We have over 450 volunteers in Houston right now, and they are a force to be reckoned with, I will tell you. Hope sees the invisible, feels the intangible, and achieves the impossible, and that's what these people do. These are some of our annual observances. I know I'm running close on time here, so I'll just kind of briefly go through these. If you have any questions about these, or if you would like to be more involved in this, please feel free to reach out, and I'm more than happy to pass on more information. We have National Donate Life Month coming up soon, really big deal. National Donor Sabbath. All the major religions in the United States support organ donation, so we use that as an opportunity for advocacy. Everything. And our biggest event is our Second Chance Run. We have one in each of our 3 locations. Takes place towards the end of the year. Please, that was not me. I promise. We're always looking for more people to register. You see all the donor families and the recipients. I mean, you see people with double lung transplants coming in and running this marathon. It is so great. I love it. We have it at Minute Maid Park here in Houston, so really cool experience. And then these are some of our ambassadors at our events. Had to embarrass my husband and put him in the top left there. He doesn't have a choice. He has to get involved. So that's pretty much a quick little whole scope of Life Gift, the transplant community, and what we do. If you guys have any questions about any of it, I'm an open book. Obviously, I love to talk about it. And thank you so much for taking the time to listen. And I hear we have 2 really great presenters coming up next. Yes, ma'am.
Say, for instance, I need a organ. Will my family have to pay, or will I have to pay for that donation, for that gift?
You mean for the donor, that process? No, ma'am. Those expenses are covered. As a recipient, the only thing you have to pay is for your own hospital stay through the hospital. But the donor family it's no cost to them, and it's no cost to the recipient or the recipient family for the medical process of donation. Oh, great question. How did I not mention that? So you can go to donatelifetexas.org. We're trying to do everything virtually these days, so that form you saw, we're trying not to do that because it asks for very personal information, and we'd rather not have that floating around for y'all's sake. But if you go to donatelifetexas.org, you can register. If you have registered at the DPS and you have that heart on your license, it all goes to the exact same registry. So we work very closely with DPS too, so it's all the same. And if you're not sure if you're registered, you can go to donatelifetexas.org, put in your information, and it will show you if you are, and you can actually go in and change what you'd like to donate or not donate at that point as well. Great question. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, you're absolutely right. And that's something that we're having a lot of internal discussion about at Life Gift on how to best approach that, because there is a huge discrepancy between different ethnic populations, the people who need the organs and the people who are registered as organ donors. And a lot of times those communities, understandably, have low trust in our medical system. It makes sense. You know, we get it. And so my counterpart in Lubbock, Amarillo, is part of the African American community. And so she's really spearheading ways that we can sit down and listen and hear what the concerns are and address those directly, because that's really the best way to get across. Because we don't, you know, I don't know what those concerns are starting off. So listening is the best first step that we have for that. But that is something that is a top priority for us right now. Thank you. So the donor family has no cost whatsoever for donation. That cost is covered. The recipient doesn't have to pay for the donation process. They do, like I had to pay for the hospital stay and the surgery of receiving my organ and all of that, but that donor process wasn't, you know, the donor family doesn't have to pay. Does that answer? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's free of cost. So that's when it's a deceased donor, there's no cost to the family for that entire process. I'm not sure. No. Glad you're here. I was like, I have to call my dad and ask. Okay. My dad was my donor, by the way. Thank you. Any other questions? It's donatelifetexas.org. And we have it on our website too. I have some business cards if you guys would like some that has the Life Gift website. We have the registry linked on there as well. Or if you guys would like to sign up to be volunteers. Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys so much.
That was awesome. Thank you very much, Ms. Meigs. Next, we have Ms. Myra Castaneda. She has a personal investment in it, so we're going to hear her side of the story.
Well, good morning. It is an honor to be here. Good afternoon. It is an honor to be speaking to you guys about our journey. That's my son up there, and that's the day that he got to ring the bell in the hospital. I was able to donate a kidney to him, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of share with you all a little bit of our transplant journey. It's in a different capacity. I'm used to coming up here and speaking to everybody about discipline and bullying and things, and I'm up here talking about my transplant journey. But I'm going to talk about it until the day I die, and I'm going to talk about advocacy and the importance of donating a kidney or organs, living donation. So that's my baby. That's Edward. He's not a baby. He's like 6 foot tall. Down. Oh, there we go. So this is just, we've always had a close relationship. I was a single mother for a long, long time. So he was my sidekick. He was my partner. We went to Disney together. We do everything together, and just the way that we were, just so, so close and connected at the hip always. Oh, this little thing here. Until one day, our life just, I saw this picture and it just reminded me, like, this is what I felt like that day. It was June 2nd, I think it was 2016. All of a sudden, he's throwing up blood. Don't know what's going on with that. But before that, he had been like, Mom, I don't feel right. Something's off. I feel weird. And I would take him to the doctor. They would, oh, he's fine. He has asthma. Oh, he has this. He has that. Oh, give him this antibiotic. Give him this. He'll be fine. But they never really looked for the kidney issue. So we didn't know. We had no idea. His paternal grandmother passed away with kidney disease at the age of 56. And she was a transplant patient. But you don't think about that, right? He has a million cousins, and none of them were ever sick. None of them had anything. And so this day they said, Ma'am, did you know that your son's kidneys were working at 30%? And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And they said, yeah, there's something wrong. And so it took 6 months before we could get an answer of what it was. And there began our hospitals. And I'm so grateful to Galena Park because this district supported us through the whole thing. I was here, and imagine being a mom trying to go to the hospital and go here and there, and they really, really supported me through the whole journey. So grateful to this district. I owe them a lot. I have to leave at 3. Go ahead and leave. They let me do that because it took a lot. He was in the hospital one time for 13 days, and it was just constant. And so then I knew that he was going to need dialysis. So that morning, I had taken him to an emergency room. His nephrologist is like, take him to the emergency room. He needs to be admitted. He had thrush. Right? Because once you're in kidney failure, everything goes wrong. Everything. You have all these skin irritations. I mean, he couldn't urinate. He was just, he could urinate at this time, but not during dialysis. But just so many different things were wrong. Calcification was spreading in his body. He just looked terrible. And they were giving him all different kinds of medicines because they really didn't know. He was diagnosed with FSGS, which is focal segmental glomerular sclerosis. And I was like, what the heck is that? But then now, that I know about it, I connected with other mothers, and I would stay up reading and learning all I could about this disease, right? And there, that was the day that he had gone to the emergency room, and they said, oh, we're going to just send him on his way home because, it's just thrush. And I said, no, his nephrologist says you need to admit him. They're like, sorry, we're sending him home. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And anyway, they did a direct admit that day. He was at 3% function. They couldn't even get him sedated quickly enough to put him in a room. They had to, once he was in his hospital bed, they had to cut him to put a port to immediately put dialysis, to get him through dialysis to save his life because he was going to die. And so that right there, they cut his neck while he was awake in his hospital room. And so that picture of me there is 13 days of no sleep, and being on the floor and not leaving his side because of what he was going through. That was a terrible time. And that on the right was the dialysis center. So he started on, that kind of dialysis at the center 3 times a week. But then they told us about peritoneal dialysis, which is they put a port here in his stomach, and at night he does it at home. So we were trained on that, and he would do his dialysis at home. So it was tough, and it doesn't help completely. You couldn't urinate. It was just, imagine, he's like, why me? And then he would be in college, and then he would have to withdraw, and then he would have to lose his classes. And why can't I be normal? And I'm like, you are normal. You're just going through something. It's going to be okay, You have to find this strength. You got to dig deep. So then, Mama got to work, right? I had to do something. So I started calling all the hospitals and trying to figure out and research and do everything I could to figure out what do I need to do to get my kid a kidney. I had a plan A, plan B, plan C. So I said, Baylor St. Luke's, they said, we'll accept your insurance. Methodist didn't accept our insurance. And so I said, tell me what I need to do. Hurry. They're like, ma'am, he needs to get on the transplant list first. So calm down, right? And I would call them every day. They knew my voice. I would call that hospital every day, and they would be like, yes, ma'am, Myra, is this you? Yes, well, we're going to get back to you, I promise. I said, well, I hadn't heard from you guys in 15 minutes, you know. And so the process is pretty tedious. Once he got approved to be on the transplant list, then I could start the process to get tested. And you can only get tested one person at a time. So if I had 5 people who wanted to try to donate, only one person at a time could donate, to try and test at a time in each county. So I could try in this county, Montgomery County, Galveston, everywhere. I could try and be listed in each one of those counties, right? That's a lot of work. And luckily they took my blood, and usually I'm deathly afraid of needles, but I think just God put this protective bubble around me, and I wasn't scared at all. I wasn't scared at all. And I knew, I'm like, you could have both of my kidneys. I've lived my life, you know? And so, sure enough, guess what? It was a match. The kid looks just like his father, but guess what? We were a match inside. So it was a perfect match, like 99%. So I said, all right, let's get to work. And when can we do this? Well, then Hurricane Harvey happened. And you can imagine, I manifested. I said, I am going to donate. I told my boss, I said, I'm going to donate during the Thanksgiving holiday. You just wait and see. And then I would tell my son, he's like, he was so pessimistic, and he would say, no, Mom, just stop. Just stop. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And I said, you watch and see. You don't know your mother. I said, it's going to happen. I would take them nothing but cakes. I would take them little champagnes, like for mimosa. I would take them gifts every time I went to the hospital because I wanted them to remember me and put me at the top. And so I think they just wanted to get rid of me, you know, at that time. So sure enough, I'm at JCPenney, and they called me, and they said, guess what? We have a date, November 21st. So November 21st, 2017, that was our date to go to transplant. So not scared at all, went in there, and they did what they needed to do, and I'm like, let's get the show on the road. The doctor later told me that the kidney didn't work for like 30 minutes. It didn't work. And she said that she was about to make that phone call to the head doctor and let them know there's a dud. It didn't work, right? And then all of a sudden she said when she picked up the phone, she looked and the bag of urine just filled up. That was the indication that it worked. So, yeah, she told me later, and I'm like, oh my gosh, right? You know, because it's not guaranteed that it's going to work. Just because you donate, there's always a chance that it's not going to work, you know? But luckily, it did. And he got to ring the bell, and that was a very emotional time. I had the video, but I'm like, no, I can't make it through that video. And he rang that bell, and it's been 5 years last November, so he's doing great. And that's my son now. And he missed out on a lot, you know, because he had to stop college, and then he had to keep going, and I would push him. I said, you know what? It's not a race. You're going to get to that finish line. And he kept on. And he's about to graduate this year with his film degree. Yeah. Yeah. And so that little quote there, I had that quote on my computer the whole time. And it helped get me through. And I would break down. I would be just somewhere, and I'd be like, oh, Sharonda. You know, I would go to her office, and I would just fall apart. And then they'd just sit there and look at me, just reassure me it's going to be okay, pick myself back up, and get back to work. You know, the best thing we could do was just take it moment by moment. And that's what I tell people when you're going through something, when you're going through anything, and we're all going through something, you just got to take it one moment at a time. And lastly, I'm going to share just a little bit of this song that helped get me through because I love music and I connect it to a lot of parts of my life. This song helped me get through. And I can never keep a dry eye when I listen to this song, but I'm just going to share a little piece of it with you. Let me make sure that it's on. You're broken down and tired. Let me see. Just give Alicia put it up for you guys. Present.
You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise like the day. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, I like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again.
So, long story short, I would do it 1,000 times again for him. And it was worth it. And I tell people, and guess what? I advocate, I talk about it, I write about it on my Facebook. I tell everybody who's willing to listen, you can do it too, you know? And I have helped to inspire 2 people to be living donors, and they have donated a kidney. So that to me is like, you know, so exciting to me. And I also have another record that I got to be in the Guinness Book of World Records to be a part of the largest amount of living donors in one area in Chicago. So we actually broke a Guinness record and were able to make the Guinness Book of World Records. So thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Ms. Castaneda. Appreciate it. We have another guest speaker real quick, and it'd be Ms. Teresa Orphy. She has another take on the organ donation also. So Ms. Teresa Orphy. Is your microphone on? Here's this one, in case that microphone is not on.
Okay. Good morning. As you all know, well, some of you don't know, but I'm Teresa Orphy, and I am the mother of Markeisha Orphy Kelly. She's my beautiful daughter. She's my oldest. Markeisha is the sweetest child that you could ever have. When she was a senior in high school, she got ill. And my baby graduated, and right after graduation, spent time in the hospital. And at that time, I thought I was going to lose her. She was diagnosed with lupus. We recovered from that hospital stay. And after that hospital stay, she got ill again. We went to Park Plaza Hospital where she was on dialysis. She was on dialysis not even 2 days, and her kidneys started back functioning. She was told she would never have children. I have 3 grandchildren, thank God. But in the midst of her having her babies, it pulled on her kidneys with the lupus. So at age 30, my baby had to go on dialysis. She spent 5 years on the transplant list waiting for a kidney. And during these 5 years, the only thing that we could do is wait and pray. I'm a woman of faith, and I knew that God didn't give me her to take her. Even though I had her for 35 years, I refused to accept that. So the only thing that I knew to do was to pray and wait on him and stand in my faith. As her, she was raised up in the church. So seeing her go through that and me being tested and I wasn't able to give her a kidney, y'all don't know the devastation that did to me. I couldn't fix what was wrong with her. Moms are superheroes, but this one, Mom couldn't fix. So I showed up to work. I showed up to church. Smile on my face. How you doing? I'm doing fine, but just broken inside because I couldn't get my daughter well. I couldn't fix what was wrong for her, even though it wasn't for me to fix. Just as a mother, and you having a child, and something's wrong with that child, and you can't fix what was wrong with her. Her father was a perfect match, but due to health reasons, he couldn't be her donor. Her brother couldn't be her donor. Several of her friends did get tested, but they weren't a match to be her donor. So here we go again, waiting. And in the waiting, praying and trusting that God was going to provide. On September the 26th, she got a phone call. Baylor Scott in Fort Worth, we have a kidney for you. She goes to Baylor Scott. That Sunday, early that Monday morning, they took her into surgery. When the doctors attached the kidney, immediately the kidney was working. So it was a perfect match. That was her kidney. But I said all this to say, yes, she's strong, but to actually watch your child go through that from high school up until now, that's a journey that I don't wish on nobody. But all I can say is put your hand in the master's hand and trust and stand on him and put your faith in him, and he'll see you through it. Because I should have lost my mind. I spent sleepless nights. I spent many nights at the hospital before she was married. Mama was there. Mama was sleeping on those hard benches at the hospital. But I just stand here in awe of God's goodness. And she gave her testimony in church Sunday about her struggle. And I told her these words. I say, you're going through this to help somebody else that's going to walk the same walk. And when Miss Rayner asked me to speak, and I was like, well, I don't want to speak. And I had to think about what I just told that girl. I say, now you just preached to her to get up and tell her story. And I can truly say this is what kept us, and what and if you go on her Facebook, you'll see it everywhere. Luke 1:37, for with God all things shall be possible. And that's what we stand on. And I'm just thankful because my household are living donors. We are registered donors, and I'm advocating for my family members to be registered donors, and the importance of everybody being a donor. And that's our journey, and that's our story. Thank you for listening on this morning.
Right here. That is great. So next on the agenda, we have Brian Aubin from Student Nutrition. He's going to speak real quick on our wellness plan that we have for the district.
So I just had an audit with the Fed State and had to There's people's names that appear on that, and I want to make sure that those names are accurate, that the actual plan and the assessments that we do to ensure that we're meeting the needs of the student on the campus or in the district is actually accurate. So there are some things in there, I just, off the top of my head, there was something about the kids can access tracks and playgrounds at any time they want to. I don't know if that's still true, because after COVID, I don't know if that's shut down, if those rules have changed. So those are things as this body needs to look at, pull it up, it's online, and reassess, and then maybe we revisit that and maybe adjust it. And if we do adjust it, we'll bring it back to the board of trustees, and then they can sign off on it, that is where we're headed. So it was just a quick spiel that I had on it. I saw it, I had to submit it to the state again, and they haven't said anything to me on it, but as we go forward, that doesn't mean that we might not have somebody ask more questions about it as to the accuracy of our wellness policy for the district. So that's all I have on it. I'd just like you to take a moment to go online. It's on the district website, and you can see the assessment tool, and you can actually see the policy. It's both in English and in Spanish. And that's all I got. Okay?
The public comment items, patrons wishing to address the council may do so by registering by 8:30 a.m. the day of the meeting at trainer1@galenaparkisd.com. Patrons who have duly registered may address the council and make public comments on an item before the consideration of the item. Okay. Right now, there's no new business that we have. Okay, and then we'll go with the minutes. We'll do it the minutes.
In your folder, you have the minutes from our last meeting, December 8th. I would like you to take a few minutes to review those. If there are any changes, please notify us at this time.
So the minutes are in your folder, and then we'll just, if you see any discrepancies, and I'll show them on the screen also.
At this time, we call for approval of the minutes. Can you repeat your name? Lawrence Simmons. Can I second? I second it. And your name? Thank you. The minutes have been approved. So our next meeting, we would like you to remind you that our next meeting is going to be Wednesday, April the 5th at 11:30. This is not a Thursday meeting. It's going to be a Wednesday. Put that in your calendars now. And at that time, we're going to be celebrating a baby shower. And what we ask is that you bring a gift for the baby shower, and that gift is donated internally.
And there's a little card inside your folder. Those are the items we're requesting. But we do request that they be new because of COVID. So, okay. And just a few little comments. We had North Shore Middle School this year. They participated in a tobacco survey for the state of Texas. 159 of the students took a test online. And all the questions are just with the child reports. No one can see the answers, and so it was strictly, straight up confidential. So they did that in the December, and so that will be, I think there were 13 schools out of 13 districts out of Texas that did this, and North Shore Middle School was chosen to do one of the surveys. And then we had 3 participants that actually won. They had a vaping contest, and they won. So our district is being very active in different formats to try to keep the kids safe and healthy. Any questions, comments? Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming and attending today. Hope you go onto the website. One more time, donate Life Texas. Say one more time. DonateLifeTexas.org. And she's looking for volunteers. If you're on Facebook and would like to volunteer, you can contact me, Trainer1 at Galena Park ISD, and I can get you set up. Or call us. And thank you. Yes, Ms. Hurtado. Yes. That's the message. You're welcome. Yes. And so if you would go in your folder one more time, and there's an evaluation form. And if you have your phone, you just click on the little box, the QR code with your phone, and do the evaluation for today's meeting. And after you do that, you're welcome to leave. And we just be safe. And we will see you April the 5th with a baby gift if you're so like to bring one.
On behalf of Dr. Epps, my partner Teresa, and myself, Maria Juarez, we thank you so much for being here. And thank you to Melissa and her team for the fabulous food. Can we give her a hand? Delicious. Thank you so much, everybody. Happy Valentine's.
And take your treat on the table.
Oh, your treat, yes.